Okay. Welcome, everyone. Have a seat. Could be in a chair for this first part if you'd like. Let your hips be a little higher than your knees. And bring your attention to the breath, perhaps calming it a bit, slowing down, smoothing. Just letting the heart do what it does. Reaching up through the crown and down through the hips, knees, feet. Come into a centering breath. Inviting the breath down through nostrils, into lungs, swelling down through the ribs and into the abdomen. Squeezing everything together as it comes back out. Open to the energy body, this subtle body of the chakras. And for a moment, bringing our attention back to the earth chakra from last week. Relaxing through the pelvic floor, legs, feet, the base of the spine. Feeling that steady container of the earth beneath us. The red spinning disc of the earth chakra. The earth to which we belong. And then bringing the air up through the spine, through that energy channel, the Sushumna, the central channel of the map of chakras. Breathing up and down the spine. Coming to a place just above the pelvic floor, the bottom of the pelvis, the lumbar spine, reproductive organs, kidney and bladder. This area of energy that is like water, where there's flow and fluidity as we balance and awaken this area of energy. The mudra here is one of transformation. So we bring our fingers down, intertwining with each other, steeple finger and then thumbs together into this kind of mudra. And we bring that to the area just below the navel. This is the mudra of transformation. The water chakra is the area of emotions, emotions that are always changing and transforming. As we grow from babies, we start to feel, and the energy of the body that is these emotions comes to meet the consciousness in this basic polarity of yoga between matter and consciousness. We feel anger and guilt, pleasure and joy, all of it. The water flows between polarities, between laughter and tears. And as we grow, we begin to know that these emotions ebb and flow, come and go. The change is the inevitable way of life internally as we meet the external world. And we can feel a balance here, steadfast in our container of the earth. Even as we know these two sides. Our mudra has a seed sound, the vibration of the water chakra, which is vam, vam, vam. We'll do that sequence 3 times if you'd like to join me. Vam, vam, vam. Vam, vam, vam. Vam, vam, vam. I'm letting the mudra go. We're going to do alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhana. So bringing the forefinger and middle finger down and the thumb and forefinger up. Bring the thumb to the right nostril and breathe in through the left nostril. The ring finger comes to the left nostril, closes it, and breathe out through the right nostril. Breathe in right. Pause, close with thumb, and breathe out left. And breathe in left. Pause, close, and breathe out right. And continue at your own pace. Opening up the two sides of the map of the chakras, which are called Ida and Pingala. The left and the right sides of the body, either side of the spine, the side of the moon and the sun, one side active, one side calm. The manifest matter on one side, and on the other, the unmanifest spirit. And the next time you breathe out of the left nostril, let that be the last time. Let the hands come to the thighs. Cloud rises over ocean. Rain descends on Mary's Peak. Down Woods Creek, Mary's River, the Willamette, the Columbia, becomes a wave in the ocean, and so with us, flowing with the tides. Remove anything that's high underneath your hips, and you might bring a blanket underneath your hips just to raise them a bit. And we'll come into a side bend, sliding over one way, feeling a continuous flow here, just like water. With this chakra, our affirmation is, I feel, I flow, a wave in the ocean. Join me if you'd like. I feel, I flow, a wave in the ocean. I feel, I flow, a wave in the ocean. And one last stretch over. Bring hands back to knees. One knee comes to the opposite, one hand comes to the opposite knee, and hand comes behind for a gentle twist. Strong through the belly as you twist around side to side, experiencing the polarities in this water chakra. The pleasant, the painful, coming together to the center. Bring the soles of the feet together and the legs are in a diamond. Hands are on knees. Inhale as sternum rises and gaze rises. Exhale, let the spine arch towards the wall behind. Loosening up through the spine. And at the end of the glacier, two ravens sitting on a boulder, carried by the glacier, left on the gravel, resting in the flowers. At the end of the ice age, show me the way to a place to sit. The words of Gary Snyder. And then coming back to center, bring hands back behind. Let the feet be wider and the knees go from side to side. Feeling the flow in the feet, the knees, the legs, the hips, the water chakra flowing from side to side. The goal here is fluidity of movement, pleasure, and connection. And then let an arm come into the flow. Let the momentum bring you round. Then one more time on each side. And come back through center. Bring the palms together in front of you and press with elbows extended out. Press the palms together. Feel the strength of both sides, the energy of the polarities here, both repelling and attracting each other. The raw energy they form as they come together, this power that will go up the chakra central channel to the fire chakra above. Then letting that go, bring one arm under the other, coming into eagle arms, elbows and forearms twisting around each other, just coming to the place that's right for you. Backs and hands might come together or fingers on palm. Let the elbows come forward of the shoulders, perhaps feeling some sensation between the shoulder blades in the back. Then spreading arms out and coming back together. Our arms are like the double helix. The Ida and Pingala, those channels on the right and the left of the central channel, wind up around the chakras, these vortexes of energy. One going up, one going down, spinning each of the chakras as you go up through the system. And reach out. Bring the legs wide. Flex the feet. Press down through the sits bones, up through the crown. Hands come in front. And with a straight back and soft knees, come forward as much as feels right. The body you inhabit, come back up and go back and forward a few more times. Looking north up the dancing river, where it turns into a glacier under stair steps of ice falls. Hesitate a moment over and then come back up. Then removing our blanket, let's come up, down to a lying position. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat. The knees are a little wider than hip width apart. Press down through the front of the water chakra under the navel. Pelvic tilt here as the pelvis rises a bit, and then press the tailbone down as the back of the water chakra lifts up. Gently letting that water chakra open and flow. Breathing into it as the pelvis turns up and down. Then give the knees a hug. Relax down through the sacrum and up through the spine, melting down between the shoulder blades, the back of the neck, the jaw. Bring the hands to the kneecaps. Legs are together here. We'll circle the knees, both knees going in the same direction and around the circle. So this is a small circle. But as you circle the knees round, you can feel the sacrum circling round, circling the water chakra, perhaps creating a kind of eddy that brings the two sides of the water chakra together, and then round the other way. All of our opposites that we live with, hope and despair, mind and body, anger, love, and come back through the center. Now bring the knees towards the armpits, come into happy baby. Hands can be on the arches or the outsides of the feet. And let one heel kick up and then another, stretching out through the backs of the legs. Then bring the knees bent above the hips. Arms are out horizontally from the shoulders. Let one leg come down towards the floor, and after it comes as far as it wants to, let the other bent leg come down to meet it. Then that same leg lifts up and the lower one follows. Coming up to center, let the leg on the other side come down towards the floor. The other follows down as the hips roll over in that direction. And then the upper leg comes up and the lower meets it. Establishing an unbroken flow here. Legs moving independently, but in relationship to each other. Then coming back to center, straighten the legs, and we're going to do the same thing. So one leg opens just as far as is appropriate, and then bringing the other over towards it, and lifting the upper one up to center, and then the lower one. Then other leg goes over towards the floor. Top leg comes over to meet it. Top leg lifts, bottom leg comes up. And so letting the legs each move, each with their own energy, yet moving as a unit, aware of each other, and of the constant change, the impermanence of all of life. A lesson that we spend our whole lives learning. And one more time in each direction. And come up through center. Bend the knees. Let one ankle come above the knee in a figure 4 position. Give some support to the leg that is not bent in a figure 4, and bring it straight up. So this is like a figure 4 with a straight leg, and the other leg, the ankle, is on top of the thigh, just above the knee. Find where you can release here. In yoga, an important opposition between holding and releasing. Where is the necessary hold in this pose? And where can there be release? Then changing legs, bringing the other ankle on top of the thigh and straightening that other leg just to the extent that works. Knees soft. And bringing the attention into the water chakra. What are your polarities? Perhaps you can choose one polarity today to be thinking of. Your sun and shadow. both important. Then bringing the feet down. Let the feet be just below the buttocks. Arms are along the sides. Bring the forefingers and thumbs together in a diamond shape. Fingers are spread. Lift the hips, bring that configuration under the hips. Elbows are bent. Extend the legs out. Bring the elbows in, press through the hips, press through the elbows. Let the head slide on the back of the crown, up towards the back of the crown. Sternum rises into fish pose. And breathing here. Then exhale down. And we'll come up one more time. Drawing elbows in, pressing through hips, elbows, sliding up to the back of the crown. Sternum, hip, ribs rise. One more breath here. And slide down out of fish. Now we'll go over onto our sides. One hand, the top hand in front of the chest, and the head can rest on the other hand. We'll do clams. So there is an easy V with the legs. Feet stay together, upper knee rises. You can have a hand there if you want a little bit more challenge. Opening and closing. Mind in the mountains, mind of tumbling water, mind running rivers, mind of sifting flowers in the gravel at the end of the ice age. Then bring, you can keep the head up or down either way. The hips stack, knees stack, and feet stack. Raise the upper leg 6 inches or so, and we're going to circle with that leg, letting the movement come from the pelvis and the hip. Feeling that foot stirring the water below. And then coming around the other direction, perhaps you can feel the air on the bottom of the foot and imagine that as the gentleness of water. One more time round and bring it down. And we'll come to the opposite side. The V, gentle V in the legs, and lifting up into clam. In yoga, there's this basic polarity between matter and consciousness. 3 more times. Matter is sometimes imagined as Shakti, the goddess, and consciousness as Shiva, the god. And come back down. Then let the feet come out straight. Everything is stacked. Top leg comes up 6 inches or so, and make small circles round one direction. Feeling the organic, watery circle. Then coming round the other way. Just letting the body take on the energy of water. And one more time round. And come down. Now we're going to roll over and push up and come into child's pose. So first, a nice snuggy child's pose with the water chakra warmed beneath the legs and under back. And then slide the hands forward, and we're going to come into hip circles. Hips come over to side, back over the heels, over the other side and forward, making a raindrop or a teardrop. Letting yourself be completely part of this flow, this fluid energy. And back the other direction. Movement of delight and pleasure, allowing ourselves to feel, to be connected with other people. And as the yogis say, as a wave in the cosmic sea. Then bring the hands back, knees come wide and toes are together. Coming back into a child's pose, stretching back, stretch back from hands back through the hips. Then raise the hips up. You're on your hands in the front, knees are still wide. And this is called a hanging cobra. So a little bit of give in the elbows and extend the heart forward. Sternum rises a bit and gaze rises just a bit. And then come back down, hips to heels. Come forward into that hanging cobra. One more time, back and forward. Then we'll come down into a prone position. Arms come out straight in front and legs come out straight in back. Really stretch between fingers and toes. Then raise one arm and the opposite leg and bring them down. Raise other arm and leg and down. And continue. Feeling this slow, gentle, swimming motion. Imagining the calmest, warmest water you've been in. And one more time on each side. And bringing the arms back, we're going to do an alligator. This is the one where you bring your heels of hands, holding the jaw. You're on your elbows. And unlike others, you let your shoulders collapse down. So you're just up by the strength of the arms. And let the hips and the pelvic area completely collapse down into the earth, the legs and the feet. Let the water chakra, with all its changes, feel the container of the earth and let it take whatever shape the circumstances call for. Meeting them with steadfastness, but also fluidity. Then let the torso come down, arms come along the sides with palms up. Inhale, head and shoulders up. Exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. Arms join in, reaching back through the fingers. And down, up, and down. Now legs are going to join in, feet and head at about the same level, and coming back down. We'll do it 2 more times, lifting up, out through crown, down through fingers and toes, and body comes down. And one last time, up and down. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, and we're going to come up into a downward dog. Let the fingers be wide, steady through the balls of the fingers and the heels of the hands, stretching back, knees quite bent here, feet at hip width. You might let the knees pedal. The shoulder blades come around the sides of the body, broad in the back, energy coming up through the internal arms, up through the sides and the back. Arches might come down a little farther towards the mat. Knees remain soft, that's fine. Then let's come forward into plank for 3, 2, and 1. Elbows come close, knees come down. Open up in cobra. And then coming back up into downward dog. Bring the left foot centered under the hips. The right leg reaches up. Stretch back, press down into feet and hands so that leg rises a little bit farther. Then bending the knee, come under the belly, arch the back up, bring the foot through as far as it can come up in between the hands. So bringing the foot up in between the hands, the back foot is way back, and we're coming down into a knee down lunge with the top of the foot down, but the knee stays back a little bit on this particular lunge. Feeling that stretch, that opening in the groin area and the front of the hip. Front knee right above the ankle as the arms rise, palms facing each other, gaze rises. Just a comfortable level here. We'll do this again. And then coming back down, bring both hands over to the inside of the right foot, the inside of the front foot. And you might be on your fingertips or your hands. The right shoulder is coming into the side of the right knee or right thigh. And if elbows can bend a little bit here, that's fine. Let the yoga yoke with your body just the way it is. Then bringing the hands on either side of that foot once again. We're going to come up again into the lunge. Hands might be parallel or they might come into steeple fingers. Either one is fine, simply a different stretch. Pressing down through the foot and the knee of the back leg and the foot in the front. Opening up through the leg, the pelvis, the front of the body, and coming back down. Let the knees come back. Weight into the hands as we come up into downward dog once again. Pressing back, let knees be soft, and only gradually let the arches come down towards the mat just a ways. Then bring the right foot underneath the hips, left foot rises up, press into hands and feet, up a little bit farther, then bend the knee, arch the back, bring it through. And if it doesn't come the whole way, that's fine. Slide it in, slide it through. Then bring that back knee down, and the front of the foot is on the mat now. Feel the stretch of this lunge. Feel the openness in the water chakra. Breathe into that area. Then weight in the front foot as well as the back. Opening up, arms rise, gaze rises, perhaps just up to where ceiling and wall come together. Coming back down. Both hands come to the inside of that left foot, finding the place for your lizard. This is called the lizard. Amphibians. Creatures of water and earth. One more breath here. Then bring the hands back around. And we're going to come up once again. Palms might be facing each other, or you might have steeple fingers. Press down through the feet. Use the energy going down into the earth in order to rise up and feel the fluidity of the body in this lunge. And then coming back down with hands on either side, we'll bring the knees back together. So we're on hands and knees here. The right knee comes forward towards the right wrist. We're coming into pigeon. And the shin might be diagonal, it might be right under the thigh. walk the left foot back, and we're on the front of the left foot. Hands might come back around the knee, pressing down through the back leg, bringing some tension as the front thigh and the back thigh pull towards each other. Again, this polarity giving us power. Reaching up through the crown and finding space here. Where's the center of this pose? Can the breath help us to center? One last inhale and exhale here. And we'll come down into humble pigeon. Forehead coming down on forearms. Then rising up, bring the knees back together, and the left knee comes up to left wrist, shin diagonal or underneath the thigh, and the right foot walks back, and it's on the top of that foot. Bring the hands up around the sides, press down through the knee in front, knee and foot in back, allowing the hips to rise just a bit and open through the front. Feeling the polarities of this pose. Finding the balance of this pose. One last inhale and exhale. Thich Nhat Hanh says, what we most need to do is to hear within us the sounds of the earth crying. And so we come down into a resting pigeon as we deal with our own polarities of tears and laughter. We also experience the tears and laughter of the earth, coping, always holding us, listening to what it has to tell us. And then pushing back up, we're going to come over into side plank. So weight can be on one hand, make sure that hand is right under the shoulder. You can be on a knee in the middle with one leg out, or you can have both feet stacked. So make your choice here. And one foot might be in front of the other foot if you have both legs straight. So side plank here, or you could be down on your forearm as well. So there are various options for the side plank. Find the one that fits your body, reaching up, and then letting the hips dip and come up a bit. Even in this static pose, flowing, even if just slightly through the hips. 2, and 1, and come down. And we'll do that on the other side. Remember, you can be on your forearm or you can be on your hand. You can be on that middle knee, or feet might be extended. Reach up and then let the hips dip and come up a bit. It's going to be a very small movement. For 2, and 1. And come down. Let's take a moment for a breath. We're going to do a squat. You might want to bring your heels to your blanket for a squat. Hands could always be on knees. Elbows could be on knees. Elbows might be pushing knees apart from each other. Let the tailbone reach down and the crown reach up. Let the pelvis be strong and at the same time flexible. Strong, yet open and ready to flow with clarity with whatever comes your way. Then bring the hands down in front of you. Feet come to hip width. Hands hang. Let the vertebrae come up from the sacrum, up the spine, rolling up little by little. The top of the spine and the neck being the last ones to unwind. Just as a chakra system unwinds upwards, coming from matter, the manifest, up through the mind into mystery and the universe. Let's stand in mountain pose for a moment here. Hips and feet in alignment, hips right under shoulders, chin slightly tucked so that the head just balances on the shoulders. We're going to do that breathing that we did last week with the earth chakra. Palms are facing the floor, knees bend. Inhale as elbows come back behind the body. As you exhale, press down with palms towards the earth and legs straighten. Inhale, bend knees and elbows. And as you exhale, feel your roots going down into the earth. Inhale, energy up from the earth. Exhale, root down. And one more time. Now let the pelvis join in as the water chakra. As you come down, the buttocks goes out to the back a bit. As you rise up, pelvis comes forward. So there's a little bit of a backward and a frontward movement that develops here, and hands too might come back and forth. As pelvis starts to bring that fluidity of movement, as matter rises up from earth through water. Now let your hips come back and forth a bit as feet come a little wider. So now the pelvis moving from side to side, feeling those waves within you. We are 60 to 70% water. So we have an ocean within us. And then letting the hips come around, feeling both the sides and the fronts and the backs. That ocean, the current that moves you, coming around the other direction. And let the arms join in to this dance of the second chakra. Everything in watery movements. Imagining some kind of water. And let a water walk become part of it. Are you in rushing water? Are you in a calm mountain lake? Letting the pelvis and arms and legs move in any kind of unbroken flow that is uniquely you. And then slowly coming back to center. We're going to do a balance. We're going to be kelp in the shallow part of the ocean. So have a chair there if you like. I don't have one beside me today. Feel free to use one. Bring the energy into the foundation leg, good focal point, energy coming up that side of the body. Hands can be on waist to begin. Bend the other knee and bring it up and begin to let it flow from side to side. Then hands enter in. One hand can be on the chair if you need to. Opposite flow, hands going in one direction, knees going in the other. Embracing that polarity of energies. Constantly shifting and changing as we learn to tolerate the change and impermanence of our lives. And then bringing that foot down, ground down through the other foot, good focal point, energy up through the body. Raise that knee and start its flow. And let the hands become part of that flow. Green streaks of alder climb the mountain knuckles, interlaced with snowfields, foamy water falling, salmon weaving river. And bring it down. Bring the feet wide. We'll just go back and forth a few times. Loosening, getting in touch with both sides of this equation, which is yourself in this place of earth and water. Then coming back with feet hip width apart once again. Weight in one foot. Let's make it the right foot. Hands can be on waist. We're going to come into eagle balance now. So weight down, energy up, good focal point. We'll wrap the left thigh around the right thigh. The toe of that the wrapping leg can always stay on the earth, or it can come back a little bit, or it can twist around if that works for the body. Arms come out wide. And if the left leg is on top, then the right arm comes under the left arm and we come into eagle arms. Reach out through the elbows. Arms and legs joining together in this force of right and left energies, turning the chakras for 3, 2, and 1, and opening up and bring the foot down. Let's take a breath here. Then let the weight come into the other foot. That knee is soft. Hands on waist, thigh. So I have my right thigh going around my left thigh now. Arms to get a good focal point. Arms reach out. And the left arm comes under the right arm. Circles round, intertwines, and reaches out with elbows. Notice the sensation between the shoulder blades. Breathe into this pose. We all come out and in, the vagaries of life. For 3, 2, and 1. Unwind and bring the legs down. Bring the feet just a bit wider apart. Let the knees and hips be soft. Bring the hands up facing forward, and as your knees bend, let the palms reach out as if you were pushing water forward. Then the fingers come down, legs straighten, and you're pulling the water back. Knees bend, push the water forward, legs straighten, and pull the water back towards the body. And continue developing a wave-like motion here, ebbing and flowing, sometimes leading, sometimes following. The energy of the water pushing you in and pulling you out. A few more times here. Let yourself flow. And let the arms come down. We're going to come into warrior two legs. So finding your stance for warrior two, front toes forward, back foot at 30 degrees with the front heel coming back towards the arch. You might be more shallow or more wide apart. Find what feels good through your hips. Feel the feet grounding down, the openness through the pelvic area. That edge between pleasure and effort and non-effort, both part of this pose. Then opening through the chest, reaching out through the fingers, gaze looks out into that watery world, flow up through the water into stargazing warrior. And then one arm comes below the abdomen and one comes over the head and making a kind of circle as you go over frontwards a little ways. And go back and forth between these positions, establishing a flow. Just let your body take on the energy of water, learning to flow with life and trusting the container of earth that holds us. And one more time in each direction. And let the hands come down. Hands come to waist. Turn the feet and toe heel back together. And we'll come to the other side, finding your stance for warrior two on this side. Let that knee in the front be firmly over the ankle. Feel the earth underneath the feet. Feel the strength through your earth chakra. And now the fluidity in your water chakra as arms float out. Gaze goes over and begin that same flow. Letting the body do its work as it flows. The emotions open. The mind opens. And that journey up from matter through mind to mystery begins to open even farther. One more time in each direction. And slowly coming back and bringing the feet together. Let the feet come a little farther apart. And we're going to just do an easy twist here as we come towards the end of our time together. Letting the hips move around, one heel lifting up and then the other. Again, back to that flexible, fluid movement. Arms swing around as the hips move. Feeling your capacity to loosen, to feel, to be part of the movement of the world in all its pleasure and pain. One more time on each side. It's hard to end. And then bringing feet a little closer together. One hand on the chest and one hand on the water chakra, the heart chakra, the water chakra. Feeling your capacity to center. 2 more breaths here. As hands come down and feet come just a little wider apart, bend the knees, let the arms cross and fountain up, bringing water up with them, crossing the arms perhaps in the opposite way, fountaining up again. And 2 more times. Your capacity to share your feelings clearly and openly with the world. 1 more time. And come back to center. We'll come down and end in a lying position. Bend the knees and let one leg come straight up and the other knee hugged back with your hands towards the chest. Just gently, hands on the shin, shoulders relaxing back, jaw relaxing. The foot upwards with almost no effort. Change legs. Bring the other leg in. Reach up with the other heel. Relax through the jaw and the mouth, the tongue, the throat. Feel the breathing in the lungs and the heart. The gentle rising and falling. And for a moment, let both legs come up in an inversion. Feeling the nourishing liquids come down into the central part of the body. Breathe them up through the central channel, the energy behind the spine, behind the nervous system, the energy that spins up through the body, turning the discs of energy from the pelvis to the water chakra up under the navel. And next week, we'll go to the fire chakra and the solar plexus between the ribs, up through the heart, the energy of the throat, the third eye between the eyebrows, and up to the crown. Then bending the knees, stretch out for just a moment. Coming back to that flowing breath with its root like the stem of a lotus in the water of the water chakra. Open, blooming more and more as we loosen, center, and share. Relax down through the back of the skull, down through the spine, down through the back of the legs, the bottom of the feet, sweeping up the front of the legs to the groin, the lower abdomen, floating there for a moment. Energy coming up to the middle of the collarbones, out the shoulders, and down the arms. Holding the energy of the earth in your hands, the energy of water. Lengthen the breathing and bring some movement to fingers and toes. Turn wrists and ankles. Give the knees a hug. Nourishing that place of fluidity within you, of ability to flow. And letting that graceful energy go out towards others whom you meet every day, who you think about and love every day. And then rolling over, we'll come up to a brief sitting position. We are the bears. We are the ravens. We are the salmon in the gravel. At the end of the ice age, show me the way to a place to sit. Namaste. Thank you for helping me connect the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean today. Really nice to practice with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Nancy.
Be well. You're welcome.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Nancy, there is a clock ticking that is, I heard it really loud
Recording.
at first, and then I turned on my volume. It wasn't so bothersome, but I don't know if you could move the clock or move your something.
Thank you for telling me that, Beth. I wish I would have remembered it because it's going to be on the recording.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
There's
Yeah.
a TikTok in our water.
Yes,
Yeah, I
right.
didn't
Yeah,
see you.
that's fine. Not a huge deal, but yeah.
Thanks for telling me.
Uh-huh.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Apparent warning law enforcement got about the suspect.
Well, Anna, we know the FBI is there assessing.
Hi, Nancy.
Hey, Cynthia. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
For a number of days. One of the reasons is
You
because
don't look like you're doing the yoga. You look like you're cooking.
Oh, you can't imagine how much yoga I was doing. Wait a minute. Hang on. I do want to talk to you a minute. Hello, Cynthia.
Family member who reached out to authorities
Hello?
to
Hello.
that there was a potential for violence from this suspect. It appears that what happened next is the local authorities and the FBI became involved.
Okay.
They looked into this. The FBI opened a preliminary.
Yeah, that was a really lovely class.
Was the ticking really awful?
I didn't hear it.
And it appears what happened is they did not.
I know, though. I was stupid.
I wouldn't
think.
The question is, why is that?
I wouldn't, wait a minute. I wouldn't worry about it. I didn't hear it.
But it does
I
tell
need
you
to
that
stop
at least someone in the circle there around this suspected shooter had some concern and raised it. And it appears that there wasn't enough there in the investigation to warrant continuing that investigation. So at this